my name is Taylor Smith, aka the Career Coach, and today I'm talking about digital interviews. So whether you recently landed a digital interview and you're learning how to properly prepare for it, or maybe you just heard this term recently and you're trying to learn the difference between that and a virtual interview, then this video is dedicated to you, so keep on watching. Until then, my name is Taylor Smith. Again, I am a career coach and I help college students and professionals get noticed by recruiters, stand out as a top candidate, and get paid offers for internships and full-time opportunities. If any of that resonates with you, then you are in the correct place. So let's go ahead and get back to the video. So digital interviews are something that have become more common within the last 5 years. But what exactly is a digital interview? So make sure you're not confusing this with a virtual interview, which is still like your traditional interview, where you're still communicating with someone else, right? And they're asking you questions and you have a period where you can ask questions at the end. This is basically just a general interview, but instead you are doing it behind your computer screen, maybe even over the phone, but you're still talking to another individual human being. With a digital interview, you are basically doing an interview with yourself and your computer. So basically, what this looks like is that you'll start the program, you'll start the interview, and it will give you a series of different questions that are prompted on your screen. So the first question will come up and it will usually say, tell me about a time when da 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 da. And you'll get about 1 to 2 minutes to really thoroughly read the question and start formulating some kind of answer you want to use in order to answer it. Either you can click record before that time ends, or once time runs out, then it will automatically start recording you, and this is when you start answering the question that was previously prompted on the screen. Whenever you finish that, you stop recording, you click next, and then you go forward with the rest of the interview with the next question, etc., etc. So I know after hearing that, you're like, this is a bit strange and very unusual. How do you stay authentic during a digital interview when you're not able to talk to another human being, you're not able to really check their vibe and get a good feeling of whether or not you're doing well? That said, I still want you to be you. I still want you to be authentic. If you are someone like me and you just naturally laugh at things, then I still want you to show that personality during the digital interview, even though you are literally by yourself and you're recording with the camera. That's literally what I'm doing right now to record this YouTube video, and you can still get a good taste of my personality and have an idea of who I am as a person. And this is the same thing you want to do during the digital interview, right? Even during a normal interview, even if you can't, maybe the person who you're interviewing with really isn't giving you anything, right? Maybe they are just being very just have a front on, they're not laughing with you at any of your jokes, etc. You still want to stay true to who you are, no matter how they act on the other side, right? Because sometimes they may be having this front on so that they want to see how you react to the specific situation. But that said, same applies to the digital interview. Still be true to who you are and let that really shine through. This is one of the biggest things that I hear back from recruiters who actually assess and look at these digital interviews, are that people just are being kind of weird, awkward. They're not really truly being themselves. So don't worry, don't stress about it, etc. The other thing, this is usually a sign. So usually companies give you a specific window in order to complete this digital interview. But that does not mean you should procrastinate. Do not procrastinate. The rest of this video, we're going to talk about how to properly prepare for these types of interviews, but make sure that you're not doing all of this stuff until the last minute. I do know that some companies do offer you to do 2 interviews. So possibly if you did the first one and you feel like you bombed it, you may be able to do a second one, but not all companies do this. So do not bank on this. Do not think that you can go into the first digital interview, totally tank it, just collect data on the types of questions they're asking so that you can prepare, do the second one and shine, because the questions are probably going to be completely different if they offer that. So it's not guaranteed. And also, just because you can redo the interview doesn't mean that they don't have access to the original file. So they can see how you reacted the first time. Did you really take it seriously, etc. So just a piece of advice for y'all. Please keep this in mind, and we're gonna go ahead and dive in deeper on the different tips on how to properly prepare for these different types of digital interviews. Alrighty, so the first thing you want to make sure that you're doing for your prep before this digital interview is to check your audio. So I want you to make sure that you test your actual audio on your camera, test the speakers, etc. I don't know if everything is just going to be visual on your digital interview and pop up on the screen. There may be some audio that you may have to actually listen to. So make sure that you actually test your speakers beforehand, just in case. In addition to that, you also want to make sure that you're testing your microphone, right? Because you are going to do most of the talking during this digital interview. So it's extremely important that you actually test the mic and make sure that you have good audio so that it's received on the other end. Also related to audio, make sure that you are picking a location that has limited background noise. And what I mean by that is that you don't have people in the background who may be talking in the library, or you don't have people who are watching TV in the next room that's really loud, or they're yelling. Even a baby crying, you want to try to limit these things. I know that we all have different situations and places that we live, but if you're able to rent out a space at the library, and usually this is for free, right? Or if you're able to go to your college dorm room at a specific time because you know in advance you have this digital interview, so you want to do this at a time when no one is at home, etc. You want to make sure that you're timing this correctly so that you don't have any nuisances or distractions that are taking away from you talking. And you also want to make sure that it isn't overpowering what you have to say and people are unable to hear you. So the number 2 thing you want to prep for is your visual. So back to number 1, we were talking about picking your location, one that has a limited background noise. You also want to make sure that you have an appropriate background behind you, right, within that specific location. So you cannot go wrong with a white blank wall. That's very basic, that's simple, no distractions. That's maybe your best situation. Even this background I have behind me, I would say this is decently appropriate, but there's still maybe some distractions with the paintings on the wall, etc. So you might want to have something that's very limited as far as distractions in the background, whether you're doing this in a classroom, an office at your home, etc. But you also want to make sure that no one is moving in the background behind you. Definitely you want to avoid that, or anything that may be popping out or really just taking away from what it is that you have to say. In addition to that, you may also be able to use backgrounds that you can upload behind you actually. So that really just depends on the platform that you are using in order to complete the digital interview. So maybe this is a question you can ask in advance, or maybe this is something that you can look on the platform before you actually start recording the interview, but this is something to keep in mind. In addition to that, you want to make sure that your lighting is good, and you want to make sure that your camera quality is also good. So if you're using it on your laptop, that's perfectly okay. My camera quality on my laptop is not quite as clear as it is on my phone, which I'm using to record this video now. But you want to make sure that, like, if the camera is scratched for whatever reason, or is just extremely fuzzy and is hard to make out, you probably don't want to use that, and you need to use another device, whether you're borrowing that from someone else or maybe even using your phone if you really have to. In addition to that, your lighting, right? So right now to record this video, I'm using the natural light from outside. It's about 11 a.m. here, and I'm also using a ring light just to give me an extra boost of light. If you don't have a ring light, and you can buy this from like Walmart, Best Buy for about $5 if you get the clip-on you put on the top of your phone, or you can get a little stand for like $10 to $15. Some of them cost a little bit more. Really don't break the bank for this, especially if this is something you're never going to use again. Some other tips and tricks that you can use that I've used in the past is just getting a handheld lamp and taking the shade off and just having it next to you just to give you an extra boost. I've also even used my cell phone. So if I recorded on my computer, I just turned the flashlight on my phone and leaned it against my laptop. So these are little tips and tricks that you can use to help boost your lighting if you're unable to use natural light, or if the artificial light within your room just really isn't working. So might want to get a little creative, but these are some things that you can use. Although you're maybe recording this video from the comfort of your own home, whether in your bedroom, your living room, what have you, you still need to make sure that you are dressed for the part. This is one of the most common mistakes I'm also hearing and seeing related to digital interviews. So like you would any normal interview, you still need to make sure that you are dressed for the part. So business professional attire, unless business casual is deemed appropriate, this is what you need to be wearing, at least from the waist up, right? Hopefully you won't be standing for this interview. But definitely you need to make sure that you are applying that. If there's any questions on what the difference is between business professional, business casual, etc., you guys are in luck. I am posting a new video next week where I'm going to explain the difference between all of these and what is the appropriate settings to wear these when you are networking or participating in any professional activities. So make sure that you guys subscribe if you have not already, and hit the notification bell so that you do not miss this video when it comes out and you can get all of that information. This one may be pretty obvious, but just like you would any other interview, you need to make sure that you're still preparing for it, right? You need to make sure that you still know your resume like the back of your hand, you know all of your experiences, and you also are practicing common interview questions, because it's still going to be very similar behavioral questions. There may possibly be like a technical question or possibly a functional question that's going to make you think a little bit more outside the box. But either way, you still need to make sure that you're doing that prep beforehand. So that said, you can go ahead and check out some of my previous videos that I have that are related to the perfect resume and what candidates look for. Or you can also check out this video here that I have that's related to the STAR method and behavioral interviews. In addition to all this, you need to make sure you're completing your company research. So make sure you are researching the company before the digital interview. Hopefully at this point you've already done some research on the company, but just brushing up on a few things, making sure you understand what it is that the company actually offers as a product or service, and maybe even looking into some of their values, some of their mission statements, etc., so that you get a better understanding of what it is that they're looking for in a candidate, and you can apply some of this jargon and language into your interview. Obviously, you don't want it to be forced. You want it to definitely come off very naturally and fluid. This is a skill that is kind of built over time, but doing some kind of research before is definitely going to help to your advantage and really help boost you and make you stand out more as a candidate. All right, everyone, so those are my tips related to digital interviews. If you really enjoyed this video and learned something new, make sure to like and subscribe. You can check out some of my other videos here related to professional development. And if you want some more one-on-one help to help you with your job hunting journey, then you can reach out to me at my website, taylorosmith.com, or you can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at tips_by-Taylor, where I share more tips, as well as here on my YouTube channel. Or if you would like that one-on-one help, like I mentioned, you can visit my website and you can look to sign up for a resume makeover session. You can do some practice mock interviews with me, or we can do a full one-on-one coaching program where I will help you with your entire application process from start to finish, including networking, LinkedIn, so much more. So hope to hear from you guys soon. Until then, happy job hunting, and y'all take care. Bye.